What's up, guys? This is Kyle from Wax Museum, and in case you missed it, in part one of this video, I talked about how I went to the Atlantic coast this weekend to Port St. Lucie, which is not one of the usual places I would go to a card show or a card shop, but there wasn't anything around, so I decided to branch out a little bit. So part one did a recap of just the card show, so if you want to learn more about that, go ahead and check out that video first. But now I want to talk a little bit about the card shop that was part two of that trip. Okay, so now it was time to move on to the shop I had picked out, which was called Strike Zone. And I was a little confused because half the Google reviews were people talking about sports cards, and the other half were people talking about bowling equipment. And when you think about the name Strike Zone, that could work for either one. It turns out that was intentional, because when you walk in the shop, the entire left side is sports cards, and the entire right side was bowling balls, and I don't know what else you need for competitive bowling, maybe gloves or grips, I don't know, but it was bowling stuff. Anyway, the owner was very friendly, and he asked me what I was looking for. Mainly basketball. A lot of Pacers or Hall of Famers or patches.
Basketball, but I do have some 61 Fleers.
Okay. Yeah, I'll definitely look at those.
Yeah, some of that showcase.
All right.
Just around the corner, and I have some other ones down here.
And he let me know from the start, aside from some 1961 Fleer stuff, he didn't have a lot of basketball. His baseball selection was pretty impressive, though. I'm talking from singles to vintage to unopened wax. I think I even saw an unopened box of 2008 Allen and Ginter.
Right, for $110.
That's good.
So, you know, stuff like that. I think that's the fun stuff to sit on and watch.
So the chase is fun when it's actually doable. Sometimes I've gotten involved in.
And he did have one 4-row monster box of cheaper basketball stuff, which wasn't priced. I asked him if I could pull that box out, and I dug through there and pulled one card, the only WNBA card in there. It was a 1999 Ultra Platinum Medallion of Gergana Bronzova of the Detroit Shock. And I don't know anything about her, but whenever I find older WNBA numbered stuff for cheap, I grab it because there's just not a lot of it out there. And before I left, I wanted to spend a little more money to help support the shop, so he had a whole wall of supplies. They were priced really well. I grabbed some of those, and I know he doesn't make much on supplies, probably barely anything at all, so I threw a $3 baseball relic on my pile as well. That was one I liked because it had the MLB holo on it, and it looked to be a very dirty relic. It was a Victor Robles card numbered to 10. I looked it up. It's from a game where he was caught stealing, so I'm assuming that it got dirty because he was caught stealing. But anyway, the owner ended up throwing that WNBA card in for free, which was pretty funny considering it was probably the most valuable card I picked up the entire trip. I can't find any sold copies, but platinum medallions for even the common players from 1999, they look like they're moving in the $40 to $60 range, because like I said, it's just something that's not easy to find. As I was about to head out of this shop, someone else came in and they started talking about the local show. And the owner mentioned that I had just come from there because we had been talking about it. And they asked me my thoughts, and I summed it up as follows. If I lived in the area, I'd probably stop by every month. I'd probably even set up from time to time. But being 2 hours away, I'll probably never go back again. It was good for a one-time thing, but not something that needs to be repeated. And objectively, I'd say the same thing for the shop. I enjoyed it, but I'll probably never go there again unless I'm in the area already for something else. And like I said, I want to be as objective as possible in this recap, so you do need to know if you go there, you're going to leave smelling like cigarettes. And that didn't ruin the experience for me, but it definitely wasn't something I expected. So all in all, I was on the fence about making this trip. In the end, I'm glad I did. I got to check another show out, and I got to check another shop off the list. I picked up a couple of small cards for the PC. I grabbed a few others I think I can turn into PC cards later on. And then I made a couple connections that might lead to some PC pickups a little later down the road as well.